Nutrition coaching can add a ton of revenue to your gym. So if a coach comes to you and says, I want to start a nutrition program, you need to get that coach started fast. We're going to tell you exactly how to do that today. This is Run a Profitable Gym. I'm your host, Mike Workenden. Please don't forget to subscribe before we go any further. Click that subscribe button and I appreciate it. Now, some stats. Our 2022 State of the Industry report revealed that 65% of gyms offer nutrition coaching. That's not enough, but get this, of the gyms that offer coaching, only 5% of gross revenue is generated with these services. That's too low. Compare that with Clark Hibbs of Yellow Rose Fitness. I've had him on the show before. He'll make 20 to 25% of his gross revenue with a simple but effective nutrition coaching program his wife runs from a spare bedroom in their home. No face-to-face contact with clients. And Clark doesn't just make $10,000 of gross revenue at his gym. He's making a bunch. So 20 to 25% is a big, big number. So that point is you can make money with nutrition coaching. Now, my guest is going to tell you how. Cynthia Fotti owns CrossFit Rush. She's also Two Brain's nutrition coaching specialist. She's going to talk to coaches at the upcoming Two Brain Summit. It's June 3rd and 4th in Chicago. She's going to tell them about nutrition coaching. Today, she's going to explain to how owners can help that coach get started fast. In fact, she's going to give you the exact steps to get a coach started with a nutrition program in just 6 weeks. Okay, listen, this is going to be a big deal and you can make money by listening to this show. Cynthia, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited about this because this is an area of passion for me and I know it can help gym owners make more money. I offered a few stats in the intro. Can you confirm, just tell me, give them some perspective. What's possible with a nutrition coaching service? How much revenue can good gyms bring in with this thing?
Easily 10% as a standard piece for your revenue generating, as long as you have a team that can sort of support that the volume that's going to come in. But certainly the demand is there. There is no shortage of demand on clients who need help to achieve body composition change. So yeah, definitely 10%. You mentioned an amazing gym doing some really, really cool stuff with that leg of the business. So yeah.
So 10% is more than double what the average gym is doing. And you're telling me that it's not even that hard to do. It's very doable.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's not even the upper limit. Like I said, there are gyms doing 20 to 25%. And again, these aren't gyms with low revenue. These are big chunks of revenue. It's very possible to do more. So let's get into it and let's help some gym owners out. So walk me through this. Let's get to the max speed plan to get nutrition coaching going at a gym as fast as possible.
Awesome. Okay, so I've got a timeline here set for, let's say, 6 weeks to get you started. So the first week and a half to 2 weeks. So in other words, take that time to sign up for nutrition certification if you don't have any of those already on hand. So in that time frame of 2 weeks, just do some research, sign up for one. Then
Can I ask you a question about this?
Yeah.
Do you need to be an RD or do you need this, high level, extensive be all end all certification, or what do you need here to get going really?
Not at all. Of course, state to state, you have to always check your laws and know exactly what you can and can't do. Mm-hmm. For my area, there are no regulations for that kind of thing. So to start a nutrition business, we'll say for your gym, and helping the clients that you probably serve as a majority, which are your general public, you do not need to have extensive scientific, research capacities and all of this knowledge to help a client instill some really good habits in their life that have huge impact. So I am one of those. I'm not an RD. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm plain old nutrition coach who just really wants to speak on the level of my general population. And so that's been really successful. Mm-hmm.
But yet, even with that, you're saying you're just a nutrition coach, you're still getting great results for clients and you're making 10% of your revenue. So the point is it doesn't have to be complicated. Am I getting that right?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Complicating makes things not so successful.
Okay. So step one then is find any credential that's going to give you some skills, get you recognized. Of course, check your local laws to see what you actually need. In some places that's different. Check that out, but then get your credential. Okay, take us on the journey here.
So once you signed up for your course, I then want you to set your launch date for a nutrition Kickstart. And let's set that for 6 weeks from now. Okay, so that gives you 6 weeks time to get your ducks in order, start your nutrition course, maybe even finish it by then. And it really gives you that target. So when you have that target time where you know you're launching, like you better get on that. Okay. So
You need
that is what,
accountability.
yeah, let's go. Let's do this. All right. So you've signed up, you've set your date. Now it's time to sort of build the framework of your program. So I say launch a nutrition kickstart. A challenge is another word that back in the day used to be popular. Um, this is a really good way to just generate some buzz around your program. And I think, at least in my context, we're a big group setting in our gym. We're a CrossFit gym, so people like to do things together, and generally people just do like to do things as a community. And so it's a great platform to launch your program. We do habits based, and so the framework really is simple. Pick 6 habits if your nutrition kickstart is going to be 6 weeks that are going to help your clients. So what are they struggling with? In my area, I can share some examples if you think that's.
Yeah, please do, because some people won't understand what habits based means.
Yeah.
And when I was back at my gym, this is like 8 or 10 years ago, I didn't want to run a nutrition program because I'm not an RD. I'm not a nutrition expert. I don't want to get into meal plans. I felt intimidated by all that. But now with this habits based program, could I help someone eat more vegetables and get results? Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. Give some examples so people understand how simple this actually is and how it actually gets results for clients.
All right. So meal prep. You could have that as your first week as foundation. So week 1, we're going to focus on getting really good at meal prepping. So for a week, just have your clients practice choosing a day, making a list, and instilling meal prep. And just the fact of them working on that, having the accountability of the group, they're naturally going to choose better quality foods because that's the purpose of the Kickstart challenge, right? Next week, you could have a vegetable focus. So we all can use more fruits and vegetables in our diet. And so I would say, let's pick that for your second week focus. Lean protein is a big one for my clientele that lacking hydration. So choosing more water-based stuff as opposed to sodas and that sort of thing, energy drinks. Move more. I don't know about you, but in my area, people they sit at desks all day, very, very sedentary. And so I would throw that in there is on top of your gym, let's move more. Let's get those steps in. So I would add that in.
Love it.
And then a whole foods focus. So getting away from processed foods and challenging your clients to find more whole food choices that are available to them. So those are like 6 habits that you could just stack on for your challenge that are super simple. And I think touch the population from a global perspective, what people struggle with.
Listeners, I'm going to lay it out for you again. This is a cheat code: meal prep, more veggies, lean protein, hydration, move more, whole foods. That's it. Those things in a challenge, delivered in a challenge with some accountability, maybe a private Facebook group, some resources, a couple of blogs, things like that. If you can present that, your clients are going to change their habits-based coaching, and they're going to get results. Cynthia, this seems too simple to be true. What kind of a price tag would you throw on something like this, like a 6-week program?
You could throw in something like 150 to 200, something like that, depending on how much value you're adding to this program. So you could do lessons every day. You could do meal swapping, meal sharing every day. That adds a little bit of value. So you could kind of bump up your program probably closer to the 200, 250 range. Or you could just keep it a little bit more simple and have lessons, weekly that support the habits that they're doing. Maybe you'll charge just slightly less, but somewhere in that range. I think between 150 to 250 is a great start.
So I'm going to throw out that you'll probably sign up 10 or more people. So that's like $1,500 to $2,500 in revenue right away. And this doesn't intimidate me. Like if I was running a competition, all the work and hours that it would go into that would really intimidate me. When you lay this out for me, I don't feel intimidated. I feel like this is not that much work, and yet it's going to get results. So listeners, please don't look at this and saying, oh my God, this is very doable. It adds revenue very fast. And then one of the things that Cynthia said, not a challenge with an end date, a kickstart. And the positioning there is key, because if someone thinks it's a challenge, when I'm done the challenge, I'm done. If it's a kickstart, that implies additional coaching and an ongoing service and an ongoing journey. And Cynthia's going to talk about that. So I won't give away the secrets, but know that there is a difference in wording. So take me on to the next step now.
All right. So once you've outlined the habits that you want to have in over your 6 weeks, now you want to build in a little bit of accountability, because we all need some accountability. So something general, because this is a group style event. So I really like old school, like paper kind of stuff. So I'm mapping out a calendar with all the weeks and what the focus are, and people can leave that on their fridge and just put check marks. And that's really encouraging on itself to say like, yeah, I hit my vegetables for the day, or my lean protein, that kind of thing. And then a private Facebook group is also pretty helpful to generate that sense of community and support within the challengees, if we will, and then a place for your coaches to add value and troubleshoot some people if that people have questions. You're keeping it general. It's not, you're not crossing the line of like delivering a one-on-one service when it's a group kind of service, but still provides a lot of value and accountability.
I'll give you guys a tip, listeners. My wife runs a private Facebook group for nutrition clients. If you want to generate some engagement and do it by leading from the front. That means you're going to post. You're going to say, hey, here's a cool thing I read, a cool article I read. What do you think of that? Here is an amazing recipe for breakfast. Check this out. This is my go-to high protein breakfast. Check this out. Put some engagement in there, and then add in some bright spots Fridays, right? And that's a two-brain concept. Share at the end of the week what went right. And it would be great for your clients that you're coaching to go to their fridge and say, I see 7 check marks. I had vegetables at every meal for 7 days. Big win. You celebrate it. You put them on a podium. Everybody high fives. And all of a sudden, this group has huge value, but you as the owner are not doing a ton of work. All right, take us further.
Super low touch points.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So you've done all of this in a week and a half to 2 weeks. You have established the framework. While you've done that, remember, if you're not yet certified or you haven't done a course, you are progressing in your course, right? You're chasing down that deadline for your launch date. So 4 weeks out from your launch date, you're going to promote it and market your program. So if you're working inside of a gym, you're going to talk to those clients. So anyone who you've heard who wants to lose weight or has a body composition change, I like to label things that way a bit more. You're going to market it. So through goal reviews, through posts, amp up your education within your internal spots for nutrition, right? How is it beneficial? Tips, tricks, all of that stuff just really raises awareness and gets engagement from the clients. Like, it brings nutrition to the forefront, which we all know exercise is always the fun thing to do, right? It's what people would prefer to exercise to try to out train a bad diet. So if we never talk about nutrition, if we never bring it up regularly, then we're kind of feeding that school of thought. So we want to change that. So just talk about it a lot. Excuse me.
Pro tip there, guys. If along the lines of that, when someone signs up, do you have any friends or family members who might benefit from something like this? Oftentimes, if people, working out can be hard. It's not for everybody. However, there are lots of friends and family members who might not want to deadlift and squat and run, but might know they need some help and might jump at the chance to do a nutrition program, which A, gets you a sign up, B, gives you a contact that might want to go with ongoing coaching, and C, gives you a lead that may eventually want to join your gym too after they find out it's not intimidating and scary. So there are tons of ways to get people going on this. You could even take this to, I'm going to say, a corporate, fitness environment. Say, hey, I have a great seed client. She works at X Industries. Do you want to, tell your wellness coordinator at that business about this and maybe get a group sign up? There are tons of ways to market this. The point being, you need to market it. It won't just happen, but if you follow the tips Cynthia gave you, you can get a ton of signups for this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And again, with the Kickstart, it's so low touch point. You can serve a lot of people on this program, and it's easy to talk about for sure. Yeah, it's not intimidating.
Macros are hard, right? So macro tracking, it can be hard. It works for some people, but it's very zone, whatever. I get intimidated. Just telling someone a simple habits-based program that works for 6 weeks to get you started changing nutrition, that doesn't sound intimidating. It's a great way to access people in your community who might not be ready for the whole thing, but might try some habits-based stuff.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
Spent 4 weeks just talking this up, campaigning for it, getting all those signups. Now you're at your launch date. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, time to launch. You can kick this off with a Zoom meeting and just demo what they're going to see and that sort of thing. You can choose for that. But anyways, so you launch your program. Now here's the key. So let's assume that you're maybe done your certification, you've launched your program, maybe you're almost done your cert. The point is you now have 6 weeks to figure out your one-on-one coaching. Okay, so we're doing this in layers so that there's no delay. It's very, very mapped out and planned. So Kickstart is there, you're collecting information and feedback from your clients so you can put that in your bank of, this tool or this thing is going to be really helpful for one-on-one coaching. And while they're going through that, you're planting that seed of like, yeah, this is, your bright spots, for instance, and challenges, right? Like, what are people struggling with? This is great stuff. Here are some quick tips. When we work one-on-one together after the Kickstart, we're really going to dig into that for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're just planting the seed that this is a launch. You're getting your toes wet, but the real work is going to happen when you and I work one-on-one together. And behind the scenes, you're mapping out what does that look like for my clients, so that I can provide them with even better coaching. Mm-hmm.
That is huge because it doesn't sound to me like sales, which I hate. It sounds like helping someone continue doing a thing that is clearly getting them results that they're stating every Friday in that Facebook group. Wow, I feel better. I can't believe how easy this is. And at the end of that, you have a goal review session or whatever you do, and you talk to them. Look at all these amazing things you said. Let's keep the train going. Ongoing nutrition coaching is this. It includes this. You're going to close a ton of those sales. Like when you've run these Kickstarts or seen your clients run them, what kind of conversion rates do you get to ongoing coaching?
So I hope to have at least 80% conversion rate.
Wow, that is huge. Yeah, that's huge recurring revenue at that point, right? That's amazing.
That's how I launched my program. I started with a Kickstart. I had 15 signups and I rolled 13 of them into one-on-one coaching. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I did exactly what I just mapped out and I just rolled with the punches. But hey, it worked out. I've never looked back and the program's just grown since then. So
wow. Now, without getting into the, because it's going to be different for everyone a little bit, but I'll just give me like a couple of basic ideas. What would an ongoing one-on-one program, what might it look like?
Yeah. So the first thing, the biggest, make sure that your clients are bought in or are committed, I should say, for a longer period of time. I think that's really important because if you're following this habits-based approach, you're talking about some degree of behavior change, and that takes time. And so if you're talking to your clients like it's a month thing, so this month we're going to do this, every month you're asking for that buy-in again, and that you're having to go through that sales process when you know that a month is not a lot of time. Like if your client has no vegetables on their plate during the Kickstart, you saw the struggles, they're making efforts, but life is hard. Well, in a month in one-on-one coaching, like you have great potential, but it's certainly not enough, especially if your client's goal is to lose, 50, 60, 70 pounds. You're not going to achieve that in a month. So let's get that buy-in. So 3 months is kind of like where I've always started. And so the client knows that like, okay, now we can map out the next 3 months, what that's going to look like. So get some buy-in, that commitment for the client, so that you have a better like long-term approach for that. Then you need to establish your meetings. So what does that look like for you? So are you going to meet face-to-face? Are you going to do it virtual? Is it going to be once a week, twice a week, or sorry, once every 2 weeks or in a month from now? Personally, for beginners, I start with meetings every 2 weeks, virtual or in person, for 30 minutes. And these are basically like consultations that we do to overview the 2 weeks that they've just had, discuss bright spots, their challenges. We do some education together. And so if they're struggling with meal prep, then we're going to unpack that a little bit and see if together we can find a solution to make their environment a little bit better for them so that they can actually succeed at this. So that's what happens in those consultations, is really the true value in the coaching piece. And then from there, it's establishing your check-ins. So how do you keep your clients accountable? Because again, like that's really, in my world, clients always say they lack accountability. And so if that's the case with your clients, you have to build that in somewhere. So we do text check-ins throughout the week to make sure that they're still on track. And if they've fallen off track, that we help them get back on and that sort of thing.
Again, that doesn't sound intimidating to me. It sounds like something I'm not a nutrition expert, something I could take a simple credential, and it sounds like something I could do right away and actually help my clients, even though I'm not a registered dietitian or a complete nutrition expert. It could be as simple as saying, okay, so you bought chips and you put them in the pantry and you thought you'd be able to not eat them, but you ate them all. Let's try a different approach where we just don't buy them. And if you want to have a treat, you're going to go out and you're going to eat it outside the home. You're not going to bring it into the house and store it. Can we do that for the next 2 weeks? And then let's check back in. Simple stuff like that is something I could do as a coach. I'm more of a fitness coach than a nutrition coach, but I could do that, right? Tell me, like, for a simple service like this, what kind of a rate might that, what kind of value are we delivering here?
You're talking about, again, probably 200, depending on like how many touch points you have. 200 to 250 per month for this program. So if you're doing a 3-month program as a commitment piece, then you're looking at, roughly $600, 650 over the 3 months.
So let's just put that in perspective. You sign someone up for $200 for your Kickstart, then you sign them up for 3 months at about $200 a month, whatever it is. At that point, we're looking at about $800 to $1,000 of on like recurring revenue here. And they might keep going after 3 months if you're a great coach, right? So like all of a sudden you can see how this becomes a 0% of gross revenue program and grows into 10, 15, 20, and can create careers for coaches and things like that. So this is an incredible thing. I'll just reiterate this again. Someone out there is saying, I don't know a thing about nutrition. If you don't mind, reassure these people that you do not need to be a level 10 nutrition coach.
Yeah. So when I decided that it was time to develop this leg of the business, I had a lot of fears as well so I grew up in a household where education was key, and you need those credentials. And so for me, I had those, but in a different field that I felt really like the delay for myself was, no, I have to go to university first. I have to do college thing and whatever. And I just lined myself up with the two brain nutrition specialist at the time. And she just reassured me that no, you don't need to have these credentials. We just need to level up slightly some of the education that you have in coaching, because your clients don't want to know the science behind food. The majorities, of course, you have your one-offs, but the majority, they don't. Life is complicated. So what they need is simple solutions, and simple solutions don't come from manuscripts and diplomas and degrees. Like, you can have that through, there's amazing coaching courses out there to teach you how to leverage behavior change and to be a caring coach, and just enough of the science that you can answer those questions. And, of course, you can continue to take some continuing education courses and level up your skills. But to start, your clients don't need complicated. They really just need the support, the accountability, and just the right amount of education and knowledge, to help them make better choices.
In fact, I would suggest for a lot of people, because nutrition is so difficult, it's very intimidating. I think for a lot of clients, if you make it too complicated for them right off the bat, you're going to lose them. And that's been the experience that I've seen in our business with my wife's business. You could start talking about macronutrient percentages and all this other complicated tracking and all these different things. And don't get me wrong, some of those things can work for the right people. There's nothing wrong with those programs. But for a lot of people, just eating vegetables is going to be a huge start. And if you can provide the accountability that makes that happen, all of a sudden, you're making dramatic life changes for a person. And there is huge value in that. Cynthia, the last thing I'm going to ask you is, we've laid out a 6-week timeline here. And we've ran through the exact steps that would take a gym owner to get this going, to add one-time revenue with a sign up and perhaps ongoing revenue with recurring ongoing coaching. Have you seen this work in practice? Have you actually seen people, other gym owners, implement this within 6 weeks and make it work?
Yeah, definitely. So some of my mentees I've been working with, we kind of set the timeline, might be slightly different depending on workload, but following these steps, absolutely. It's there's always rollover from a Kickstart into one-on-one coaching, and from there it's just keeping the ball rolling to just keep growing that.
So gym owners, if you're out there and you need some revenue, here is an ideal way to add another division to your business without a ton of extra work. You can do it in 6 weeks. You can probably add 5 to 10% to your gross revenue, and the sky is the limit here. Cynthia, you agree?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing your expertise. I'm not going to say anything further because gym owners need to go out there and start their 6-week countdown now. That was Cynthia Fotti, and you need to start offering nutrition coaching at your gym. We just told you how to do it. I'm Mike Workington. This is Run a Profitable Gym. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please subscribe on your way out.